This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids.
What up, everybody? This your boy Black Magus, and I'm not even gonna do a live stream like I did last night with the Keeley Awards, aka the Game Awards, because I really don't have much to say that's worth having a discussion with people right now. I just want to do my rant and just get the fuck out because I feel like I've just wasted an evening. Like, seriously, y'all. It's Friday evening. Sure, I'm an older gamer, but I'm fairly young. My health is better now. I could have been out, hanging out, drinking with the fellas, or hanging out on a date, trying to get some pussy. No, I chose to stay home. And the funny thing is, I was kind of upset that I was going to miss this conference because I was supposed to be out of town going to Georgia to see my sisters. But things that fell through didn't work out well. So I ended up just having a couple of days off for work. Today was my day off of work. And I'm off on Saturday as well. So I'm like, okay, well, at least I get to see the PlayStation Experience Conference. Expecting the normal, list of trailers, things like that, announcements for new games and all that. And boy, was I disappointed. Again, I could have been out trying to get it. I could have been trying to, have fun, do something special. I never did anything special for my birthday, so I could have called up some friends and be like, hey, I finally got a weekend off so I can actually hang out and maybe we can do something. Nah, I chose to sit and watch this display of hubris by PlayStation. That's what I'm going to call it. I call it hubris because I feel like, one, Sony wasn't ready to do a conference. They didn't have anything of substance to show. But I feel like because this is PlayStation Experience Weekend, they felt the need to do it and felt like it will be fine if they changed things up and did a talk show type format because, hey, they're selling well. They're being well received by the gaming community. They have a lot of projects coming that people are looking forward to. So they were just like, fuck it. We're just going to do, be cavalier and do something different. Yeah, hubris is a bitch. Hubris is a son of a bitch. And hopefully this act of hubris won't be like that quote-unquote moment where Sony just fell apart and things shifted back against them. Because Nintendo's been having a great year. As much as people bitch and moan about Xbox still, they're doing solid in sales, things like that. They just dropped the Xbox One X. They have things going on. Sony, of course, has been quote unquote kicking everybody's asses in this current generation, and I guess they just felt like they could mail this one in. And I'm very disappointed. And mind you, I prefer the PlayStation platform. I play a lot of JRPGs, Japanese-oriented games growing up. So I kind of lean toward it because of that. It's not like I have a hatred of Microsoft or Nintendo or anything. It's always been my preference as a consumer. That being said, as someone who prefers Sony as their platform to play on outside of PC, that is, I'm disappointed. I am very disappointed. And apologies to everybody who flew out to Anaheim to experience that conference. Mind you, PlayStation Experience not over. They're supposed to have over 80 developers on the floor, and they're supposed to have a lot of things going on, a lot of different panels and discussions. So I'm sure that the trip won't be wasted for a lot of people. But if your whole thing was being a part of this great keynote press conference experience, then I won't be surprised if you were highly disappointed. It shows that this is a disappointing display because I'm almost 5 minutes into this video and I've yet to talk about anything that Sony has discussed or shown during the show. Usually I will do about a 2-3 minute rant to begin my videos if you watch my content, but then I lead into the content. But I can't really lead into the content because the format stood out so heavily that it was the focus of the show, and it wasn't a positive focus, it was a negative focus. Now, anybody who's watched E3 over the last couple of years have seen the PC gaming community come together and do the PC gaming show via PC Gamer magazine and AMD and other sponsors. And if you've watched it, you've known, like, at least from my perspective, that it was a shit show because they chose to do it in a talk show manner, which isn't appealing for a gaming conference. I don't thinks that for a gaming conference, it's best to do a couch sit down discussion with different people and things like that. When you look at E3, when you look at Paris Game Show, when you look at Gamescom, things like that, and PlayStation Experience, which for the last couple of years, this was the 4th year, 3 years prior, they stuck to pretty much the general keynote format in which you have presenters occasionally, but for the most part, you're showing trailers, you're showing gameplay, you're discussing stuff that's coming out in the future. You're not sitting down having a coffee talk with developers. You're not sitting with your execs talking about what it means to be a part of the PlayStation brand and things like that. Now, mind you, I understand partially the Andrew House thing because he is leaving Sony, I think by the end of this year. So I wouldn't have been upset if they did just a segment where they talked to Andrew House and let him say his farewells to the PlayStation fan base. But sitting and having a goddamn chit chat wasn't the way, and it seriously showed everybody that Sony had really nothing to show. They may have showed a handful of trailers, mostly VR stuff. Some of the stuff I don't recall, and this is coming from the guy who's always defended the whole indies thing. There weren't even really any indies because there was like maybe 2 indies and a couple of VR trailers and a couple of rehash trailers. They re-showed the goddamn Death Stranding trailer from the Game Awards, and then they had a conversation with Kojima, which if you're a Metal Gear fan, Kojima fan, you probably marked the fuck out. But honestly, other than like the Blaze Blue and Soul Calibur trailer, nothing grabbed my attention in this. I was not interested in listening to a panel discussion at the moment. Again, generally speaking, when we see these keynotes, we're just looking for trailers and things like that. Yeah, they'll have some information, some talking points, but for the most part, especially with Sony over the last 4 years, it's just been all show trailer, show gameplay, show trailer. Tight, concise, usually an hour, maybe no more than an hour and a half. This was like 2 hours. It was almost 2 hours. Felt longer than that, to be quite honest. And it just wasn't, the vibe was just all wrong. It was off. Like, at one point, I think I tweeted that I wanted to punch Sid Human in the face because he said, hey, you want to see some trailers? Like, and you're an hour in, and you finally decide to show trailers. And then the trailer segment was maybe 15 minutes at the most. Outside of the Kojima's trailer, which is long as fuck. I still have it on in the background. In fact, I have the window minimized. They have Greg Miller talking to Sean Layden, which why? What the fuck? It's like, seriously, this isn't entertaining. It's not what we came to see. At least, I think most of us is not what we came to see, and it was a big disappointment. Sony really wasn't ready to do anything special, and I'm saddened by that. best you can hope for if you're a Sony fan is that on the floor you'll get a lot of different announcements during the panels and discussions over the next 2 days. Maybe you'll get something. But yeah, Sony would have been better off not doing a conference and just doing the experience, having people on the floor. Maybe do a quick treehouse type thing where they just do a couple of interviews, not really dedicate themselves to a keynote and build upon that. They built up to really nothing, and that's sad. Hopefully, this won't come back to haunt them. Hopefully, they'll right the ship. There are a lot of games coming out next year, and that's one of the other points I found very saddening was there were no release dates. Cory Barlog, the lead developer of the God of War game, he made a joke about the dog ate the release date, which is kind of dumb because it's like, okay, you have all these projects in work, no release dates, nothing significantly new was announced. You didn't even take the time to at least try to show new gameplay of certain games. Like, they re-showed the God of War gameplay from E3 and had Cory Barlog talking over it. Or was it from Paris Games Show? I forget which one, but it was from one of those conferences. They have him talking over it. They could have showed some new Days Gone stuff. They could have said something about Last of Us 2. They could have showed trailers for other games that have already been announced. Like, they could have just did something for Far Cry 5, which is coming out soon. It was pretty much just a waste of time. They could have saved that time for something better, in my opinion. But it is what it is. And honestly, as much as I'm ranting, I feel like I'm letting them off lightly. Like, I should be raging, but I'm trying not to blow my buzz because I have had alcohol and I was enjoying that until I started watching this. And I kind of want to go to bed in a sort of good mood, but, you know, thinking about this, it's just hard to fathom doing so. I wasn't satisfied with what I saw. They really dropped the ball. I dropped the opportunity. You had the FromSoft teaser. You could have expounded upon that. You could have did more with the Soul Calibur thing instead of re-showing a trailer. You could have showed maybe gameplay of that. You could have did more than just the Detroit becoming human crowd thing. You rehashed the Until Dawn thing. Okay, cool, I guess. You could have mentioned anniversaries for games. Shit, Uncharted, 10 years old, things like that. Announce sales, something. I just feel like they had nothing for now, and they just decided, well, we're gonna do this regardless, so let's just find something to fill the time and appease people. And I guess now we know why they weren't being convenient to gamers across different locations, because normally they do their keynote at like the middle of the afternoon on the Saturday of PlayStation experience, so they can get the maximum amount of viewers. This time they did it at 8 p.m. Pacific time, which, like, for me is 11, and for other people, like European markets, it's like the middle of the night and things like that. So they really weren't looking for people to pay much attention to this. When you think about it in hindsight, they knew they came into this with as little as possible, and oh well. This is their biggest misstep as far as the conferences go, in my opinion. But hey, at least they have enough out there to where they can at least point to that. But no excuses for tonight. This was a horrible show. It was a waste of time for me personally, and I'm sure it was a waste of time for most of you. By the way, shout out to Hazy Rome. I'm sorry, Better Gaming Bureau, your representative. Is it Better Gaming Bureau? I forget what BGB stands for, so apologies. I'm drunk. God damn it. But BGB, Hazy Rome went out there, spent his money, and sat in that conference and probably suffered. I'm sorry about that. Fed's a big fry, by the way. My condolences to your eardrums, because I can't imagine that when he does his fucking reaction, it's gonna be fucking pretty. Yeah, I cannot wait for Big Fry's video because that shit's gonna be hilarious. But yeah, bad show, very bad show. Anyway, I'm done with this. As always, feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. I'm gonna take my drunk ass to bed now because damn it, I've missed all opportunities to get laid and to do anything much more entertaining than this shit right here. Woo! All right, y'all. I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Makers in the mouth, y'all. Deuces.